Hey guys, Joel's coming at you with another reasoning sesh where I challenge the status quo of the wisdom of the world and the church by diving deep into the ancient scriptures and applying them practically to situations in our present day. And today, I'm going to be talking about our beloved nation of Canada.
Come now and let us reason together. Come now, we can talk it over.
But before I begin, I gotta say, if you like these videos, give it a thumbs up. And what are you waiting for? If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button so you're notified of when I post new messages, because honestly, this message is only accelerating as we reach the breaking point of the old system. And we gotta step up. We gotta arm ourselves with knowledge, because that knowledge is power. And when we apply these ancient principles that the religious institutions have just been squatting on for the last, couple millennia, and we apply them and move forward in a new paradigm, we become the agents in place for the kingdom of heaven to usher in the utopia that we've known we were deserving of all along into this earth plane. But with that out of the way, I'm just going to jump right into it. Some people might be surprised, wondering what does the ancient scriptures have to do with Canada? Well, a whole lot. But guess what? Today I'm going to be sharing 2 of over 24 scriptures that are carved into the Parliament buildings in Ottawa, Canada. People talk a lot about the United States being founded as a Christian nation and on these kind of values, but little do they know that Canada too was founded on a foundation just the same. And the whole purpose of this nation was actually to establish a key position for the kingdom of heaven to spread out over the entire earth. Whereas in the United States, people came seeking religious refuge from persecution, in Canada, it's quite the opposite, where the founders knew that the good news, the evangelion, the gospel would actually go forth from this very nation. And actually, before I continue that, I'm just going to read one of the key verses. This is probably the most famous when it has to do with Canada, because look at what it says in the 72nd Tehillim. He shall have dominion also from sea to sea, and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Now that word dominion was used in the founding of Canada to actually call it the Dominion of Canada. That's where that name actually comes from. And of course, sea to sea refers to the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. And while Canada was just the western provinces of Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, they later added British Columbia on the west coast, and that prophecy became a reality. But look what it also says. It says, from the river unto the ends of the earth. Well, in Canada, you have one great river from which all the Great Lakes empty into the Atlantic Ocean, and that's the St. Lawrence River. That's the very river that the first explorers came to Canada and actually founded their colonies. You know, like explorers like Jean Cabot, Jacques Cartier, Samuel de Champlain, all of them came up this St. Lawrence River, and they founded Montreal and Toronto and all these fort cities along the St. Lawrence River. But Source was telling me that it's from these very shores that the very message of the kingdom of heaven is going to go out over the entire earth. You know, they thought they were coming here to set up a colony for the crown of England, but they actually set up the potential for the kingdom of heaven to reach the entire earth. And like the Toronto blessing was a shadow of that, man, we are entering unprecedented days. And I really mean that, because not only is the knowledge going to go forth from Canada, but literally healing for all the nations, like the technology that's going to be uncovered and released to the world starting in Canada. I can't say a lot right now, but Source has shown me, and man, is it ever transformational. And that brings me to the second verse that I'm going to share that is also written in the Parliament buildings in stone. And it's from the Apokalypsis, the 22nd chapter and the 2nd verse. And it's talking about the New Jerusalem here. And it says, in the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, there's the river again, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And this is the part that's written in the Parliament. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Now, Canada's flag is the only flag in the world that actually has that leaf emblem, the maple leaf. And that's the legacy of Canadians around the world. But what does it say here? The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations? Well, what else is Canada known for? Well, it's known for medical cannabis. And that itself is such a healing plant that they had to lambaste it and denigrate it for 5+ decades? Because they knew the potential that it had to open the minds of people and to break the fetters of the control of the allopathic system. Pharmaceutical industry was terrified of it. And guess what? They realize that their time is up now. That's why they're unleashing all this craziness all at once, accelerated, because they know their time is up, and they're just trying to drag as many people with them as they can to hell while they still can, because that time is very closely growing short. The writing's on the wall. Mene mene tekel ufarsin. Their days have been numbered. They've been found wanting of justice. And because of that, their whole system is going to be divided right down the middle, where we can actually be who we've come here to be. No longer manipulated, no longer controlled, no longer ruled by institution and media and blinded by all these organizations. And the last thing that Canadians are going to put up with are these initiatives that Mr. Trudeau has implemented in Parliament, because we know our rights. We're not going to stand for tyranny. And the last thing we're going to put up with is another Fidel Castro. I'll let you infer from that whatever you will. And you know, we are literally stepping up as beacons of light and actually downloading in our own little individual pieces of this puzzle the kingdom of heaven. And as we fit together, we'll realize that broader perspective, actually create this high vibe tribe that will be on the leading edge, crashing forth on the shores of Canada 2.0, manifesting our best lives yet. You know, and I also want to talk about the Canadian national anthem. Like, we used to sing it all the time in school. And you know what? Those lyrics, man, if you just go over them, like, what are they saying? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love, in all your sons command. You know, this kind of stuff is like, we really respect our country. We really respect, like, the freedoms that we have here. Because even then it goes on to say, with glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. Well, are we living in a free country when you can't buy anything, you can't go out to restaurants, you can't enjoy a game if you haven't subjected yourself to... So it's time, and Canadians are rising up from far and wide. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee, because guess who's keeping our land? It's not us, it's God. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. So really, Source is going to make this whole thing explode, but we have to stand on guard. We have to be tapped in and allow Source to come through us. And then we're going to see this tidal wave crash. And it's not going to be pretty, because it's going to wipe away all the corruption. And even those of us that thought we were awake to what the manipulation was and, you know, whatever was going on behind the scenes, even we are going to be surprised just to how deep this rabbit hole went. Literally, I call it a Taurus hole, because it's never ending. It's just crazy how much the kingdom of evil has been doing to our species since the days of the Nephilim. But that's the topic for a whole other episode, maybe a live session, maybe even a series of live sessions. We'll see. But the beast is dying, and really the time of renewal is upon us. So grab onto that as we move forward. And we are going to inherit a new world where we can actually be who we've come here to be. No longer manipulated, no longer controlled, no longer ruled by institution and media and blinded by all these organizations. So I love you guys. Be optimistic, because this is the time. We literally are at a tipping point. Because as Jesus said, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws nigh. So it's not a time to panic. It's just a time to know that this is unfolding in the best possible way, so that all the evil is exposed before the kingdom comes. And it's going to change in an instant. You're just going to be living your life, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, whoa, what happened? It's going to be like that overnight. Just like he also says, for as the lightning comes out of the east and shines even to the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. So stay watchful and expect for this, because honestly, the time is upon us. We are literally at a breaking point, and we are seeing the kingdom of heaven come into this earth and expose all of the corruption before it sets up its throne, and we really reign as kings and priests in this messianic age. So I love you guys. Be strong and know that you've come to this earth for a reason. This is far from over, and we will see the greatest days that we couldn't even imagine before. We will just be immersed in it, in divine bliss and divine love and divine harmony with everything and everyone. So I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. I'll check you in a future video. Agape, Salaam, Namaste, Shalom.